Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this evening's council meeting. We're glad a few of you made it out and weathered that tipping temps and blustery winds and all that stuff. Before we get started into our agenda items, we're going to commence with our traditional moment of silent reflection. And I would particularly ask you to keep in mind those who have battled and who are battling pancreatic cancer. Purple is the official color of the month, and today is World Pancreatic Cancer Day. We probably all know someone who has been afflicted. So let's keep all of those cancer folks in mind, but particularly those afflicted with pancreatic cancer. Thank you very much. And in the spirit of the recently passed Veterans Day, I'm going to ask our resident veteran, Council Lady Albaugh, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. We have several guests, and anytime we've got folks who are like Al Tucker and Teresa Kahn, one of whom comes bearing money. Al is here to take our money, though, right, Al? Maybe we could just take her check and buy all of the calendars up this year. Is that right? You want to step up at the podium and tell us about the exciting stuff this year for the 2018 calendar?
Absolutely. Thank you, Mayor. Really appreciate the opportunity to just come and spend a few minutes, and I appreciate that moment of silence because it gave me a memory of my brother Tad, who died of pancreatic cancer. Great guy, miss him a lot. I'm representing what's called the Buckhannon Band of Brothers. We're actually more than Buckhannon, we're Upshur County. We're just a group of Christian men that represent several different churches, and we do lots of stuff during the year. But at Christmas time, we like to reach out and help as many folks as we can. We really like to help kids as much as we can, too. And so Steve Foster, I had done a calendar for a number of years, and Steve says, we could probably raise a little bit of money with that calendar and help some folks. And so that's how we got into this. And our focus is Upshur County. There's several different things that we help from the Christmas store. One thing that's not listed on the back of your sheet is an angel tree for a prison program for kids, parents are in jail, a backpack program, the pantry at the middle school. So we do a number of things locally. We even bought quite a few children's books for the library last year. So we like to have a presence here in Buckhannon, and internationally we do a couple of things. We do a Haitian orphanage, and on the front of this little sheet that describes it, down at the bottom right is a picture of a plantain orchard that the last time I saw it, plantains are way over your head. But it's a farm to provide fresh vegetables to the orphans, so that's a neat thing to do. And then we also help another group that's located up in southern Ontario, and they work with the Native Americans up there, and they also go down and have a ministry in the landfill dump area in Guatemala. I don't know if you've ever seen any of that on television, but most of the huge dumps have these little shanty towns, and they're built right around these landfill areas, and people go in and scavenge and sell that stuff, and that's a little picture of a girl that happens to probably sleeping in a little shanty today, but she's got a new blanket because of folks like here in Buckhannon, Upshur County can help with a ministry like that. And each year we like to have a statewide presence. You all know last year we did southern West Virginia. We did Clay, Webster, Kanawha. Did a lot of families down there. We were so fortunate to go back there in Easter because of the generosity of the people in this community. And so we're redoing that this year. The only difference is we're focused on 100 in Mannington. They got hit really hard with floods up there. I talked with Dave Pethel yesterday. He's a legislator, Bill Hamilton's counterpart. He's from Wetzel County. And so he's helping us get into the county. And so we already have names of 25. Another individual's working 25 families in Mannington. And then depending on how much we bring in, we may be able to do more to provide them, a nice, actually do a couple of nice big boxes of food at Christmas time. So that's what we're all about, and trying to, as I said, help folks locally, statewide, and internationally. And it's the generosity of this community that allows us to do it. So do still have plenty of calendars for those that want them, and you don't have to pick them up right now, but
Beautiful pictures.
we'd be glad to. I can find you if you let me know.
My mom said after last Christmas, because the family all got as a gift one of the calendars, they said, I don't care what you get me next year, but you better get me one of those calendars. So I've bought my 10, and Jerry and Amby know what they're getting for Christmas now.
Well, we appreciate that, and just happy Thanksgiving.
Thanks for what you're doing.
Now, while you're here, I'd ask that you join me up at the front of the room for just a second. We don't want you leaving empty-handed. This is a mayor's proclamation. Whereas Al Tucker is a proud Upshur County community resident who many years ago came to Buckhannon to reside with his wife Leva, and whereas Al Tucker is a proud veteran having served in the United States Air Force for more than 23 years, and whereas Mr. Tucker has been extremely community-minded in our BU community, as evidenced by his having expended hundreds of hours and having served as the primary drafter of our Buckhannon 2015 comprehensive plan that has been the guiding tool for our community's exceptional development in recent years. And whereas Al Tucker further has been very active with the Buckhannon Upshur Camera Club, traveling all over the region around Buckhannon, always serving as an extraordinary advocate for our community wherever his travels may lead him, and further has vigorously promoted the sale of the annual Band of Brothers calendars, with proceeds aiding flood victims and others in need. And whereas Al Tucker's selfless and outstanding service and contributions to our community are indicative of our citizen ownership in and respect for community activities and philanthropy, and represent the very finest example of our high quality of life enjoyed by our residents here. And whereas our city is very proud of one of its most accomplished citizens, who steadfastly epitomizes positive thinking, dedication, and accomplishment, while serving as an exceptional role model for everyone throughout our BU community, and now desires to recognize Al Tucker for his outstanding contributions to our community by bestowing upon him our city's Ambassador's Award. Now therefore, I, as Mayor of the City of Buckhannon, pursuant to the power and authority duly vested in me, do hereby proclaim Thursday, November 16, 2017, to be Al Tucker Day throughout our City of Buckhannon. To further memorialize Mr. Tucker's devotion to and affinity for his Buckhannon community, I further now hereby bestow upon him the Buckhannon Ambassador Award, thus being but our city's 20th recipient and honoree of this most prestigious honor and award. Appropriately, I direct the installation of a permanent placard upon the Ambassador's Bench on East Main Street in front of our city's Stackert Youth Center to permanently honor Al Tucker, the bench bearing the inscription and legend, the Ambassador's Bench, honoring those who selflessly dedicated their lives to the service, promotion, and advancement of Buckhannon. I further urge all of our residents to greet and recognize our city's most honored citizen, Al Tucker, along with his wife Leva, friends, and all members of our city governmental family during his most special day, given under my hand and the official seal of the City of Buckhannon this 16th day of November 2017. I can't imagine a better ambassador for Buckhannon than Al Tucker.
Go ahead,
for our veteran scrapbook.
Oh,
Get back over there.
she wants to, no, we gotta get photos here.
Okay, good.
That should carry a lot of weight with the wife when you get home, right?
Sure.
Yeah, right. He's finally arrived. Thank you so much, Rob.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah, thanks,
I'll just comment. It's really super that you all have a program like this, and I do appreciate this honor. But you know, the biggest honor is the journey that you can get when you're helping people, and then to have somebody say thank you for that. That's pretty cool too. But I love the journey, and these are kind of like a little bit of icing on the cake. So thank you.
While we're on a roll, I'm gonna just read you this letter that came to City Hall a couple of days ago, and then I'm gonna call upon Mrs. Teresa Kahn with Buckhannon Community Theater to make a presentation. This is to me, City Council, and city employees regarding Colonial Theater restoration. On behalf of the Executive Board of the Buckhannon Community Theater, I would like to extend our thanks to the City of Buckhannon and to the Public Works, Fire, Police, and all city departments and employees for their contributions to the Colonial Theater project. As we took to the stage for the October performances of the Rocky Horror Show, the electricity for our community theater group was palpable. There was a feeling among the audience that we were experiencing something special and different from any opening night in our history. Theater can be many things. It can be educational, hilarious, thought-provoking, or just a few hours of fun away from the world. As we witnessed the intense work that occurred in the days and weeks leading up to the performances and were greeted backstage at every turn by fire and safety employees encouraging each one of us, we realized this theater experience wasn't just for the audience and the cast and crew. It was a performance for the diligent men and women who work tirelessly for the city and make it not only the best in the state, but also an unparalleled cultivator of the arts and creativity. The first word in Buckhannon Community's theater is Buckhannon, and we couldn't be prouder to call this our company's home. Along with this letter, you will find a check for $500, representing more than 15% of our ticket sales for the two-night run of Rocky at the Colonial to contribute to the restoration project. We hope you accept this as sincere thanks for our use of the space and for the work that has been put into this project. We believe the Colonial Theater will be a transformative venue for years to come, and the impact it will have on our young people in Buckhannon will be incredible. We thank the Mayor and City Council for their leadership on this project, and we look forward to continued and visionary progress for the Colonial Theater, the arts, and the City of Buckhannon. With thanks, John Waltz, Secretary of Buckhannon Community Theater. John couldn't be here this evening, but Teresa, we're happy to have you here. Now, I told the story before the meeting started, and it's a true one. When checks come in made payable to the City of Buckhannon, Amby cashes those within 3 minutes of their arrival. So this is actually a photocopy of the check, which I'm going to ask you to ceremonially deliver to me up here.
Absolutely.
Would you like to come up?
Please do. I don't know if they would want one or not. Get more of the mayor than me, please. Because like I said, they were at the bottom of the barrel to have me.
That's a genuine copy of the check.
This is not a forgery, please.
Like genuine imitation.
One, two. Did you get it?
Are we good?
Nope.
Oh, now Mary's turn.
Okay.
But I do want to say that we were very, very impressed. And this is my first interaction with this group. It is a great bunch of people.
Oh, yeah.
And that night, opening night there,
Yep.
it was just the excitement and seeing Jerry and all his crew, and they were so involved, and they even got involved in the show, which we absolutely love. So we want to thank everyone involved.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, no, I want it back.
My services
Thanks,
as your
Teresa.
photographer is free.
Oh, thank goodness.
Thank you for coming. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. You're welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting, but you may find it to be a fate worse than death.
Really, but my husband may, so I'm gonna
Take care. Thank you for coming.
Maybe someday.
go. Yeah, he's got his.
Okay, we have some other guests from Wesleyan College. Mr. Wall and you guys from the Wesleyan, you want to stand up and be recognized, face the camera, and tell us your name, your hometown, and your major course of study.
My name is Bryson Fluke. I come from Buckhannon, West Virginia, and I'm studying business administration.
You're not a relation to that Eric Fluke guy, are you?
Unfortunately.
You're not Tom Dunn's grandson or anything like that. Oh,
Yeah.
it's a small world, isn't it?
Thank you.
Mr. Wall?
Okay, thought she was a student too. My name is Chad Wall. I'm a senior political science and psychology double major from Charlestown, West Virginia.
And president of the senior class, and just was accepted to the University of Virginia School of Law.
Wow.
We're glad to have you guys. If you have any questions during the meeting, don't be bashful about asking. I'm going to,
So she's just here to.
She's a Buccaneer still.
Why'd you make her come with you?
I'm in student council.
she doesn't care if we watch the football game tonight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, people in the crowd.
Well, she didn't sign.
Mayor's prerogative, I'm going to drop down to strategic matters and take up item F8, possible hire of information coordinator grant writer. 18 months ago, when I started this new job for the city after the more than 32 years with the other job for the city as town attorney, I had identified to council that I thought in many respects relative to revenue generation, we were still scratching the surface, but not much more than that when it came to grant applications and successful grant awards. As time went by over the past 18 months, I also found that a large chunk of my time and other people's time, supervisory-wise with the city, was being expended with trying to put information out to our public, to our residents, our citizenry, and still often coming up short with doing an adequate job. So a few months back, as I was processing and digesting, I started to advance the idea that we needed an information coordinator and a dedicated grant writer. We vetted through that process over the course of several months, and about 3 months ago established a time frame that we would petition, put the notice out in the newspaper, generate interest, identify people we wanted to interview, talk among ourselves about the interviewees, and I am hugely pleased to announce tonight to our citizens that we have concluded that process, and I believe we are on the cusp of hiring a truly outstanding writer, information specialist, if you will. And Mr. Rollins, I would entertain a motion from you that we hire in this brand new position for the city of Buckhannon, Callie Cronin-Sams as our new information director and grant researcher and writer.
So moved.
I have a motion by Mr. Rollins. May I have a second to his motion? Mrs. Albaugh, I have a second. Is there any discussion on this motion?
I'd just like to say, in 2009, when we submitted the comprehensive plan to the city, one of the primary objectives and recommendations was that we hire a grant writer. And it's been quite a few years since then, but we're here, so it's not how long it takes, as long as you keep at it, right? So that's it.
Some highlights from her CV. Callie is in her last semester with her master's degree through Miami University. She has her undergraduate degree. I just did all that talking and then I lose your resume. Anyway, her undergraduate degree, she did some MBA work at Wesleyan also, but her Bachelor of Science is in Business Administration from Fairmont State University. Prior to her 6-year tenure with the West Virginia Division of Natural Resources as an information specialist, she spent about a year with Volunteer West Virginia, doing all kinds of things philanthropically and involved with grants and all that kind of stuff. So we have hired someone who is very gifted with the written word, which strengthens us as an organization. And I have no qualms at all in just saying I couldn't be happier with this hire. We hope that you are with us for a long time to come, young lady. And if you'd like to come up and I'll introduce you, and Katie and Sarah probably want to click a picture. I don't have a proclamation for you. You'll have to
Your husband.
She hadn't earned it yet.
after you bring in your first $1 million
There you go.
grants,
Oh, right.
you'll
No
get a
pressure, right?
proclamation. No pressure.
First 90 days.
I'll let you go first. I got it. Okay.
Oh, am I squishing your hand?
No, it's fine.
And you have a couple of very special guests with you. You want to introduce us to, they're now extended members of our city family.
Sure, this is my husband Nathan and my daughter Willow. So thanks to them so much for coming this evening, and Willow's putting up with me. And thank you so much, Mayor. Thank you, Council. I am just absolutely thrilled to be getting started in January in this position and working with Katie and the local press here, and just being a small part of all the great initiatives that are going on here in Buckhannon, and working with Jerry and Amby and the rest of the folks at the city, and just looking forward to hearing from all of you, from all of the city employees, any ideas you might have. I'm sure you may already have some brewing that I could be working on, and also city residents. Give me a call, give me a text, send me a message on Facebook, come find me on Bogus Street, knock on the door. Daytime hours, please. Bedtime's a little earlier these days.
We think so highly of Callie. We decided, even though she starts January 1, we're going to give her her first day off, and she won't have to come to work until January 2. We're just the last of the big spenders.
Yeah, so nice.
We're thrilled to have you on board.
I am as well. I'm
We'll, I'm
really
sure
excited.
there's great things coming ahead. Thank you for being with us. Thank you.
Thank you for inviting us, and thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely,
Thank you.
absolutely. Well, she's blowing his kisses, sort of.
Oh, she wants her mama.
How old is Willow?
She'll be 2 in January.
We should vote on
January
it.
11th.
Got a vote on it?
Oh, yeah, we got to approve this motion. This is where it all goes south, Golly. We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion on the motion? Hearing of the need for none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor of hiring Callie Cronin-Sams as our new information facilitator and grant researcher writer, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Motion carries unanimously. And again, we're thrilled to have you guys as part of the family. So we'll see you soon. Okay. That takes us down to department and board reports. And first up is our Public Works Director, Jerry Arnold. Jerry?
Well, good evening.
Good evening.
A little update on the first topic under director. We were investigating the conduits for the sound system on Main Street. I reported the last meeting we may have to take down all the light poles and essentially start over, but we found an additional conduit, and we've been able to open it up on the north side of Main Street. And just prior to the sanitary board meeting this evening, we found that with the south side, that there was a boulder put in over at the mall here across the street, or a little development, and it was drilled right through the conduit. So we were able to remove that. We'll be repairing that conduit tomorrow, and so Micrologic will be ready to start installing fiber on Main Street, and we'll hopefully be able to get that into play prior to Christmas.
Wow.
Great.
Fantastic.
Providing information to Laura Meadows to submit a try this grant with a cap of $15,000 to install lighting at the Riverwalk You remember we submitted an application for a rec trail grant that wasn't funded. And I've got Brad and Travis Carpenter reworking some of the budget numbers on that, and we'll be submitting information to Laura so she can get that in the 1st of December. So that'll help us quite a bit. That $15,000 will downscale our lighting project on the just the loop at the practice fields. And I told the mayor in observing the lighting down there during the Haunted River Walk event, we actually had lighting similar to what we did on East Main Street, which those lights have a projection of about 100 feet. But in observation down there, we took our bucket truck and put a work light in our bucket truck and kind of lit that whole area up. So I think we can scale back quite a bit on the actual number of lights, which is going to reduce the price of that project considerably from what we had anticipated when we presented the rec trails grant. So more to come on that. I've met with John Currents, and he's having the survey work completed on the alley closure, property trade with St. Joseph's Hospital. So we'll hopefully be wrapping that up for the 1st of the year. The supervisors met, and we will be conducting the annual employee evaluations. They're due by December 31st. We also discussed the proper documentation disposal of city materials, small stuff, computer monitors, computers, small hand tools, just a more of an in-house policy, written policy as to the documentation when those items are disposed of. Water department, the Victoria Hill water storage tank, the footer's been dug and awaiting concrete again. Weather kind of got them with the rain, so they were cleaning the footers back out and did some road work up there on site. Hopefully, they're going to work a few days next week. Of course, they'll be off Thursday and Friday, but hopefully the weather is better and they can start pouring concrete on the footers. Nothing new to report under sewer or waste departments. The street department, North Buckhannon River Park. The parking spaces have been poured, the playground equipment's assembled, the equipment will be installed this winter, and the fall protection mulch applied in the spring. It's not conducive to do that kind of work during the winter time, but we'll go ahead and have all the equipment in place, and just prior to the park opening, we'll go through with our opening inspection and go ahead and get the fall protection mulching. But that's moving along very nicely. Just a matter of note, Robbie Barber's removed and transplanted 7 trees from the North Florida Street area to the city park, and we will be beginning the curb and sidewalk project as weather permits there. Those trees were removed in conjunction with the project of installing curbs, widening the street, and repairing sidewalks over on North Florida Street. Again, hopefully we can get that project wrapped up this winter, through the winter season. And there's nothing new to report under engineering, and that's all I have, unless there are questions.
Questions for Jerry? Thanks, Jerry.
Thank you.
You and Don and the whole Arnold bunch have a great Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
Amby Jenkins, our Finance and Administration Director.
Okay, so last week we did the major computer software upgrade that I talked to you about a little bit, and it took several hours to complete, but for the most part it went really well. We didn't have too many glitches, a couple bugs that we need to work out still, but we'll soon be implementing the module whereby customers can call in and make their payments for the utility bills over the phone, and they won't have to talk to us if they don't want to. But we'd be more than happy to talk to them if they want to. In your invoices for bills to be approved tonight, there's only a couple invoices I want to point out. They're a little out of the ordinary. Country Roads Transit asked for their allocation that was approved during the budget for the $10,000, and we that's in those bills to be approved. It's been expensed. And then the police department purchased 5 rifles in the amount of $2,300. Today, ironically, I had a representative come in from Congressman Mooney's office. They wanted to stop by and talk to us about any big projects we have going on and if we're having any difficulties with any grants or need their assistance in any way. And Callie got her first initiation because I was pretty quick to throw the grant writer under the bus. And said that he was thrilled, by the way. He was delighted to hear that we had hired a grant writer. He sees where other communities need that and they don't have his skills, and he said he concurred that was a good move. But in the meantime, anyway, they said they would be more than happy to write letters of support if we needed them, and in fact we do, because we have Jay's grant for the 2 generators. He's applied for them, but they're kind of hedging on how much money to give us, so they're going to assist us with a support letter. And so that worked out well and timed well. Okay, so now kind of a bigger item, and Brian Elmore came tonight to help out with this in case you have any questions. The fire department's ladder truck is in need of a pretty large repair. Jim sent a letter, and there should be a copy in your packets, and I'm not a technical person, but it's a 3-function swivel that has malfunctioned. It's from the truck that we purchased used from Pennsylvania. And this piece of equipment, that particular part is ready to, it's at the end of its life, so it going bad is not an unusual thing. But the repair to this thing is about $16,000, the quote on it. We're not going to be able to get it into repairs until December 27th.
Yeah.
That's when it's scheduled for the appointment. In the meantime, Weston has agreed to be on standby in case something would occur, and they can come over here. They're the closest fire department. And of course, Elkins would come as well, but Weston's a little closer. But I don't know if you have any questions about this particular part. What we talked about with budget, there are some funds that they had allocated for another piece of equipment in capital. So the repair has to be done on the fire trucks. It's as simple as that. He can use this money in the meantime, but we may have to, when we get ready to do the budget revisions, look at it again to reallocate what he had set aside for another piece of equipment. So this is more information to you. It's a pretty big expenditure. We don't normally bring those kind to you, but it's a pretty large expenditure.
Can I ask a question, Brian?
Yeah.
Do we have any anticipation, expectation as to how long it will take to effect the repairs? Is it just an over and back kind of a thing?
They, on the price quote, it says 20 hours is what it'll take to fix that. So we had this same problem on the 86 model that we replaced.
Right.
And it took them 3 to 4 days to fix this.
So you guys would drive it over, 2 people, bring 2 vehicles, so you can come back together, leave it for a week, and then go back and get it?
Yeah, last time we drove it up the one day and came back, and then when they called us, we went up the night before, got a motel, and then left early that morning to bring it back.
It's in Columbus, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's not too bad. Columbus is a doable drive.
And I might say it's a repair that just a normal garage can't do, and we can still keep any kind of integrity and warranty for inspections. Inspections are kind of the key. They have to meet certain standards.
Sure.
So it can't just be anyone repairing this.
Sure. Go ahead.
What about the items that you're not gonna have the money for unless we replenish the kitty? Those things are still needed, correct?
It's needed. The one thing I know, I think he talked to you about was a gear washer for us, which is about $11,000 item. And I mean, it's something we definitely need to keep our gear clean and stuff like that, but to us, the aerial is a lot more important than that is right now, so.
Well, it's not a strategic matter. We don't,
No.
they have the money within their budget to undertake these repairs, but some of the other stuff they wanted to get later on in the year, they may be coming back after the first of the year and asking for help in that direction.
Yeah.
But that's informational. Anything else, Amby?
Just a real kind of a blurb. I've got something to mention to you later if you have any questions about the geotab agreement later on in the agenda strategic. And just a note that Matt is not here tonight because he is in the CALIA conference in Florida. He and Lieutenant Loudon are. And they said that it's quite intense, the classes that they are taking. So I'm sure he'll have quite a bit to report to you when he comes back.
Yeah, I've gotten, I think, 3 emails from him yesterday and today, and he's basically said with every class he attends, it's just more fantastic what they have learned, and they believe that this undertaking will result in great value to our community.
And it's good networking for him. So, I mean, this isn't a frivolous trip to Florida. He's learning a lot, and he's getting a good network of people who already have this accreditation.
Yep. Questions for Amby? Thanks, Amby. And tell all the gals out front, we appreciate everything
Thanks,
everybody
Brian.
does
Sorry, Dan.
here at City Hall. Okay, next up is, next up would normally be Tom O'Neill. Tom has had a concert for his daughter and said he would be here later on. So we'll see if he actually shows up later on. As Amby noted, Matt Gregory is out. Brian, do you have anything else? He's already left, didn't he? We're not going to get anything else from the fire department tonight. Correspondence and information, you get all kinds of goodies in your packet. There's the notice of the hiring for a combination clerical parking enforcement officer. This is not a new position. Morgan Clutter, as you know, at the end of December is leaving to return to school. You have a notice on the RFP for information technology support services. In the interim, before we designate the entity that will be undertaking that work for us, Raven Rock has been doing that work for us. Is that right, Amby? And that includes a couple of 3 players from the old MPL that already know our technology system. You have the Atlantic Coast Pipeline, the letter announcing the receipt of a certificate of public convenience and necessity from the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. That was a precursor, a prerequisite to our opportunity through our water board to have discussions with the folks at Dominion who are doing the Atlantic Coast Pipeline project to assist them in their efforts. There's a press release relative to Arch 2601, their donation to the city of Buckhannon for $5,000 on the Marquee Restoration Project. There's a proclamation for World War II veteran Carl Nixon. There's a proclamation for Small Business Saturday. There's a proclamation for National American Heritage Month. And as you already know, the correspondence concerning Buckhannon Community Theater's $500 contribution that we did at the outset of the meeting. Under the consent agenda, there's a whole bunch of stuff. Actually, just 3 things. The approval of the minutes of our last meeting of November 2, the approval of the special meetings on November 2 and November 13, the approval of our building and wiring permits, and the approval of the payment of our bills. I would entertain a motion that we approve our consent agenda.
So moved.
I have a motion by Mr. Skinner. May I have a second to his motion?
Second.
I have a second by Mr. Rylands. Is there any discussion on this motion? Hearing of the need for none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Motion carries. And that takes us down to strategic issues for discussion and/or vote. F1, Ordinance 421, amending animal care and control. This would be the second and final reading. If we can get that out. Oh, there we go. This is ordinance number 421 of the City of Buckhannon, amending and modifying and reenacting ordinance numbers 300 and 397 of the City of Buckhannon, known, cited, and referred to as the Buckhannon Animal Care and Control Ordinance. As you'll recall from the last couple of meetings worth of discussions, this ordinance will allow us to change the actual composition of this commission so that we can meet our quorum. We've had difficulty in doing that in no small part. One of the entities that was one of the groups identified as being a member has chosen not to engage with our Animal Care and Control Commission. And then Dr. Flusher has retired from veterinary practice. So that left us 3 of the 5 members, and if one of those 3 members can't make a meeting, we don't meet the quorum. So we've liberalized this to, the members do not have to be citizens of Buckhannon. We've also, if we can't get a veterinarian, we will have an additional member of the Lewis Upshur County Animal Control Facility as a member. So we know what it's about. I would entertain a motion that we approve this ordinance on the second and final reading.
So moved.
I have a motion by Mrs. Albaugh.
Second.
May I have a second to her motion? Mr. Thomas has given the second. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing of the need for none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor of the ordinance signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. I am signing the original ordinance right now and giving it to Dr. Alloy, our city recorder. Item F2, and Amby will offer us a little comment about this. The Geotab GPS fleet tracking and management, particularly for our police department, an authorization of agreement. Amby, we've already approved this in concept. This just is the authorizing agreement to make the purchase. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's an agreement that needs to be signed, and Tom O'Neill has reviewed it. But I think you all understand what it is. It's the mechanism that goes inside of the vehicles that will track it for speed, idleness. I think it'll even track when the oil light comes on. Jerry could speak to it. It's actually the same type of module that's in the waste department vehicles.
We have them in our garbage trucks right now, right?
Yes.
Absolutely. And they've been well received, and the data generated from it has been an efficient, productive element of our operations.
Yeah.
We are currently in the waste collection. We're currently in the process. Matter of fact, just got the recommendations back. We got to kind of heads that up in waste collection. But we just got the recommendation back, had an employee meeting yesterday afternoon that we studied our routes based on the information gathered from this system. And we're going to make recommendations to change our routes around, or actually make those changes within the department in order to become more efficient. We found that there's a couple trucks that are in the same area at different points throughout the day. So in order to put that on one of the other trucks, pull that truck out, put them in another location, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's very beneficial on route scheduling for us, but as Amby said as well, and matter of fact, right before the meeting, I showed Councilman Rylands that I have a notification on my phone right now for a particular unit that there was some question as to how much time was being spent with that unit idling. So I get a notification if it's setting for more than 10 minutes. And then at the end of the day, I go back and look at the log, and I can tell where it's been and how long it has been at that particular location. So there's a lot of good positive data. It also helps with accusations. If you have someone, I know of 2 instances that I've received calls that we've had a waste collection truck pull up in front of someone or driving erratically, and whenever we reviewed or went back and reviewed the vehicle trail for that vehicle at the time, it wasn't even in that area. So, it's not a tattle down. I think I said that whenever we put them in our trucks. It's not to keep track so much of our employees, but it's also a protection mechanism for them.
Matt used these demos for a month. He demoed these and actually wrote some more program software on items that he needed in it. And they changed the program, so he now wants to install them permanently in vehicles.
Council, I would entertain a motion that I be authorized to sign this agreement.
So moved.
I have a motion by Mr. Skinner, a second by Mr. Rylands. Is there any further discussion on the motion? Hearing of the need for none, I'll call for that question. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Takes us down to F3. Andy, I'm not sure that Tom, do we have a draft ordinance of ordinance 409? parking ordinance? I don't,
I don't think
I
it's.
don't,
think it's.
if he has it, he has it. He has not given it to us.
Table till next.
So, yes, we will table that one. There also, and Jerry, you can speak to this, we are advancing the request that St. Joseph's Hospital made several months ago to swap some alleys in the middle of the block down at the bottom of the hill as you go up Amelia Drive to what would be the east of that. The hospital has acquired property, has raised the buildings about a year ago or so, and there's a couple of public alleys that run through the middle of this lot that will hamper the development in its totality of that property. They have offered to give us the same amount of linear and square footage and to tack it on to another alley, which we could establish a full-blown city street for, in trade for these paper alleys that we really don't need or use. Have I given a correct synopsis of that, Mr. Arnold?
Yes, sir.
Do you have anything to add to that? You've met with John Currents.
Other than I met with John Kearns, and he has already enlisted a surveyor, and I've met with that surveyor on site, and sometime after next week, he'll be doing the field work on the actual conveyance property for us. So again, I expect something towards the first of the year.
Mr. Currents is the physical plant director for St. Joseph's Hospital, WVU Medicine, right?
Yes.
So, informational only at this point, but we approved this concept some time back and directed Mr. O'Neill to prepare the necessary ordinance. As soon as he gets those descriptions of survey, he can plug that into the ordinance. Then we'll do a 2-reading ordinance. Then we wait 30 days. Then we have a closing and swap deeds, and we can go forth with planning the development of our new street down there. I guess we'll have to figure out what we're going to call it. Maybe Jerry Arnold Avenue or something. No, you don't want to.
I've already got an Arnold Avenue.
I already have it.
I live on it.
Oh, gosh. Okay, so we have F5 is also a matter that Tom is starting to work on. We need an ordinance that's going to toughen the standards out at our transfer station, prohibiting hot loads from coming in, that is asbestos-laden materials that we would provide penalties for, in addition to state and federal sanctions that already exist. We've had 2 incidents in the past 6 months that have put us on alert to the need for this. So no action on F5. F6, Historic Landmarks Commission signage comments. CJ or Robbie?
We're gonna defer that one
Okay.
more time.
All right, fine, that's fine. F7, approval of the Stockert Youth Center donation authorization form. And, there it is. We've tinkered with our old form, and I'd like you all to approve this. I hope you approve it, because I've already signed up and I've done $5 a pop for these 4 things. The old form was just an opportunity to give to the Stockert Youth Center gymnasium capital campaign. This new form reads, City of Buckhannon, West Virginia, customer authorization to add monthly gift to utility bill. I blank of blank blank, whose utility account number is blank, hereby authorize the following amounts to be added to my monthly utility bill to help support the following city projects. And there's 2 columns, city project and amount, and the 4 projects, Stockert Youth Center capital campaign to construct a new auditorium gymnasium. B, City's Colonial Theater Cinema 5 restoration at 48 East Main Street. C, Buckhannon Dog Park along City's River Trail. D, City's comprehensive flower and landscaping program. And then the verbiage, I understand this is a voluntary donation and I may cancel my gift at any time upon providing the city with written notice, customer signature, date, witnessed by city employee representative. That's the new form that would allow us to expand our gifts, donations. We'll have a stack of these out in the foyer. We may do a mailing sometime after the first of the year to try to entice folks to do this. And I was the first person to sign up today, pending your approval of this form, of course, I've done $5 for a month for each of the 4 projects. May I have a motion that we approve this form to go along with the concept that we have previously discussed?
So moved.
I have a motion by Mr. Thomas and a second by Mrs. Capari. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing of the need for none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor of approval of this form signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Motion carries. That takes us down to F9 since we've already acted on F8. And we're going to table this one too because we're still working on it. Bryson Van Nosteren has been working on sprucing up the application to First Energy Foundation. And what prompted us putting this back on the front burner, I was contacted about a week ago by Greg Hefner with First Energy, who asked us where our grant application was, that he had money ready to give the city of Buckhannon toward the Colonial Theater project. And I am not at liberty or privy to say how much is being offered up, but I think what we're going to find is that First Energy Foundation will make a long-term commitment to our theater project, offering us substantial funds each year, probably over a 5-year period. So that's to come. Let's hope that by the December 7 meeting in 3 weeks, we'll be able to approve my executing the application. That takes us down to comments and announcements, and Mrs. Albaugh, A is for Apple, and Albaugh, you're up first.
Okay, I wanted to thank everyone for coming out for the Veterans Day program on Saturday. The parade went well. It was cold, but it still went well. It went in the right direction, ended in the right place. Mayor, I thank you for being there. You did a marvelous job, and you got a lot of kudos on that one. So,
Thanks for having me.
and for that, if you just stand up here with me for a second.
Oh boy.
Oh, here we go.
Are you going to proclaim something?
I'm not proclaiming it. This is just a little gift for showing your support to all the veterans
Oh, wow.
of the community.
How about
Okay?
that? Shall we hold it up here and look official in the whole bit?
Front page.
Americanism defined.
Then we're going to put this up here at City Hall, right?
There's been enough pictures tonight, there won't even need to be an article.
That's right.
1, 2, 3. Don't make me laugh.
That's terrific. One more.
2, 3. Okay.
I'm going to give this to Abby because,
No, it's falling apart. Let me get it.
oh no,
Recycled frame.
if I go tacking it up somewhere,
Yes.
I'm gonna be getting the what for. It's Amby's house. She gets to put it wherever she wants.
So,
Thank you,
Mary,
Mary.
that gift is from?
From the American Legion Post 7.
Anything else, Mrs. Albaugh?
Shoot. I'm glad about that we made that decision. We're on the right path, I believe, for hiring a grant writer, and I'm excited about that, and I'm excited about this new money coming in for the theater. So looks like we're doing things good. So maybe CJ found a cruise boat to go or whatever for your vacation.
Oh boy, that's a sore spot.
Sorry.
Yeah, we worked it out.
Oh, we worked it out? Okay, good. Anyway, so that was it.
Thank you, Mary. Pam Capari.
Just ditto on Mary's comments about our new grant writer hire. I think she'll be successful for the city of Buckhannon because she loves it here and she's been a part of community involvement and everything for a long time. I'm thrilled about the First Energy grant also. I'm glad to see the holiday decorations going up. I'm already getting comments and everything. And just want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. Be safe in your travels and have a good time with your families.
Thanks, Pam. CJ Rylands.
We had some people from the Atlantic Coast Pipeline attend Create Buckhannon today at noon and filled us in for about 45 minutes about what to expect starting in March of 2018. And it opened a lot of people's eyes to what's going to be happening here. We're talking about 400 to 500 full-time employees that are going to need housing. It's going to create a lot of opportunities for certain businesses that are going to supply things to people that are living here and working, but living in a small trailer or something else. So they're they're focused on making this as positive an impact, but there is going to be a lot of truck traffic, equipment moving. They're going to try to schedule it around our peak traffic times. So they won't be going through Tannerton at 7:30 in the morning, but their yards are going to be located out on Brushy Fork, and I guess the people will be parking there, and then they'll be bused to wherever that day's work on the pipeline is. And apparently most of this pipe is already stored up around Morgantown and be making its way down here, but this is 24 months of a big boost to the local economy, and these folks are tasked with communicating and mediating any issues that come up in the community. So it's all good.
Big stuff.
Yeah,
Anything else, CJ?
that's it.
Mr. Skinner?
Couple things this evening. Today, the chamber, we had the small business group from North Central West Virginia visit Buckhannon and tour several of our businesses downtown. And I think the fact that we're on the radar for the SBA to come and tour to find out what's going on and what's going on well is a good thing for our community, and it looks good for our business community that we're a shining example of small town, small business success. So we had them in town today touring several businesses on Main Street. Last week, I had the opportunity to, as well as many people from our community, to be with Rob Hinton and Shelley Moore Capito at the high school, where a $3 million check was presented to the Central West Virginia Development Association, which is a 3-county development group that's been started by Barber, Upshur, and Randolph County Development Authorities. Expanding broadband into unreached areas in rural West Virginia is it's invaluable. If you are going to locate somewhere today, if you don't have broadband, it's almost like you don't have running water. And that is what it is being compared to. So Rob should be commended. He has done a phenomenal job in attracting grant awards to this community for development. And this is just the tip of the iceberg with the broadband initiative. He is chair of the Broadband Council for the state. And having those kind of high-power folks come to Buckhannon from Washington, D.C. to recognize us as as Mary said, we're going in the right direction, and a lot of people have had a lot of hands in making that possible. Finally, we want to remind everyone that Saturday, 25th of this month is Small Business Saturday. Black Friday is the 24th, but come back home after you've gone to the mall and support our businesses here. Our business community is open and ready to welcome people to support them on Main Street and throughout the community on Saturday. So our chamber office has information. If you want to, if you have any questions, give us a call. But we encourage everyone to support the local community this holiday season. So happy Thanksgiving to the council and to the mayor and to everybody. And see you in December.
Thank you, Mr. Skinner. Mr. J. David Thomas.
I want to thank Al Tucker and the Band of Brothers for what they do. It's a group of people that have really taken some needed responsibilities to help other individuals out that are less fortunate. I agree with everything else all the other council said. I think we live in a great community and we're moving in a really positive direction. I think that's very important for all of us. If anybody tried to call me the last 5 days, my phone's been out of order.
Who's your provider?
That's interesting. I won't say that. That's not necessary. And let's keep up the enthusiasm that we have with the city. I think that's very important. And we all should wish Katie Kuba good luck this coming the 19th, right, Katie? She's going to run a marathon, and
Oh, boy.
I hope it doesn't snow on her, but it doesn't look too good for the weather report right now. It's near Philadelphia, right there.
How many miles is that?
26 miles,
0.2.
.3.
Point two.
Point two, is it?
Yeah.
I used to tell them it was 35. Impressive.
Good luck, Katie.
But good luck.
Good luck.
Thanks, Dave. Dr. Susan Alloy.
I'm just so thrilled that Callie Sams is going to be joining city staff and working on information and grant proposal writing. And I have a question, I guess, about Small Business Saturday. I didn't see anything in the proclamation. I don't know if it's for Tammy or Robbie or whomever. But I guess my question is, our local business is going to be open later that day? Or is that a possibility? A few years ago, we had some people visiting us and we went downtown for Small Business Saturday. You know, when you have company, you don't always get up at 7 in the morning and get out.
Yeah.
So like some of them were closed at noon or 1 or 2 and
The businesses are
maybe like
encouraged.
5 or 6 or 7 on Small Business Saturday would be good.
They're encouraged to stay open and alter their hours, but there is no, I mean,
I know you
there's
can't
no
make
way,
it,
there's
but-
no way to say you have to be open
I
until
understand
this
that.
time, but I do think several of them do try to stay open a little bit later, because a lot of businesses on Saturday in Buckhannon close around noon
I know.
on a typical Saturday,
Right,
so.
but this is Small Business Saturday, which is
Right.
not a typical Saturday. If you're going to be marketing Small Business Saturday, market extended hours.
Visiting today, we have a lot of them that are planning special events and specials going on and open houses. So a lot of them are staying open and are really geared up to offer the.
Of course, shameless plug for Artistry on Main. I mean, it will be open,
It's always
it will
open
be open all day,
till
so
6. Yeah, it's always
a lot of
open.
good gift opportunities there. Just saying. Yeah, pictures.
Inside the front door.
Anything else, Susan?
Yep.
You have in your packet my remarks at West Virginia Collegiate Business Plan Competition the other day from Veterans Day on November 11th. And then last night, the greetings that I brought on behalf of the city at the partnered Enactus group at West Virginia Wesleyan College and Opportunity House at the Performing Arts Center. It was another outstanding event. Matt Kerner is just worth his weight in gold. And instead of a closing statement, I want to share with council the Thanksgiving letter that I've sent to our employees. So give me 5 minutes and I'll shut up and we'll get out of here and go watch the Steelers win, right?
No.
My dear city colleagues, as Thanksgiving fast approaches and as we prepare to take a break from our work to pause and give thanks and enjoy the company of our family and friends, I want each of you to know how much you are appreciated and how very important your contributions are to the many successes of our organization as we serve the residents of our community. Too often, we hear criticism about what we do, and we don't all always come to know about the complementary side of our efforts, your efforts. Almost every day, someone will say something to me like, "Our town looks great," or "Keep up the good work." I always explain, "It's sure not about me. Thank our amazing employees," or "I'll pass along your thanks to our employees." Recently, I have received several memorialized thank yous, and I want to share those with you all. Mrs. Laura Mathias recently messaged me with the following, quote, "Just a quick note to say thank you for the paving on West Lincoln Street. We have been driving this street every day for 37 years, and I don't ever remember any fresh paving. Just patches, and lately it has been patches upon patches. A nice, smooth street is a gift." Many of our employees worked overtime to complete the new floor at our Colonial Theater at 48 East Main Street. On October 19, the day before the 2 days of performing the Rocky Horror Picture Show, Erica Kolinich of Buckhannon Community Theater sent this message. "As BCT's first dress rehearsal in the Colonial draws near, I wanted to take the opportunity to thank you for everything. Myself and the rest of the board, the cast and crew of Rocky, could not be more happy or proud to be part of this. We simply cannot believe the amount of time, effort, and support that has been put into this project. I think there were a few folks actually getting teary when we talked about it. I have never been more proud of our town, community, and BCT than I am now. Please relay our gratitude to Brad," that's Brad Hawkins, "and all the other folks who have been working so hard to make this happen. We will do our very best to give you the best inaugural production possible. Many thanks. On October 20, I received this message from Ed Baker, Senior Marketing and Development Manager and Vice President for Development with Pentex Ventures, LLC, the enterprise that's constructing the new Harbor Freight store near Lowe's on Route 20. Mr. Baker wrote, Mayor McCauley, an expression of greatest appreciation on the part of Pentex Ventures as we work with your departmental leaders in a joint effort to bring a new Harbor Freight store to the community of Buckhannon. We construct some 30-plus projects a year. We work with multiple municipalities. Buckhannon has been the most congenial and expeditious, let's get what is necessary to move this project forward city that we have had the pleasure of dealing with in quite some time. So much so that PTV EVP Ted Donald and I have been asked by our folks if there might not be an additional project or two to which we might be able to do with you here. We thank you. We appreciate the professional nature exhibited throughout. We look forward to seeing one and all at the grand opening of this Harbor Freight in 2018. P.S. Jay Holland, thanks to you and Kelly for taking time to sit with Ted Donald and I yesterday and to speak with our Bill Owen and Nathan Hart on specific line items. A perfect example of the can-do attitude of Buckhannon in action. On September 17, I received this message from longtime Wesleyan faculty member Shirley Fordney. David, I just wanted to share with you our granddaughter Kyler's perspective on Buckhannon. Kyler absolutely loves this town. She constantly raved about Buckhannon being the best place in the whole world. She particularly named the following. The book kiosks were amazing to her. She exchanged books several times during the week they were here and was continually spying a new book kiosk and counting them several times. The walking trail, as you saw, was a hit. I hope it was okay that I permitted her to feeding the wildlife. Even if her brother tried to eat the corn, it was a treat for them both. She was also pleased by the dog park aspect. Both children loved the city park, which we visited several times during the week. She named it the best city park in the world. So thank you and the city for your dedication to our community and providing phenomenal facilities for Buckhannon citizens and for refugees from the Florida hurricane. Kyler says, this is the best place ever. Many of your efforts, perhaps, are not as readily visible to the public as some of those described above. For instance, the Rehabilitated Clarifiers project at our sanitary sewer plant that was undertaken entirely in-house by our excellent staff, saving our residents 6 figures in improvements, or our water department guys who've been completing $3 million worth of recent plant and system improvements and planning for $2 million more in improvements during 2018. The consistently terrific work of our waste collection crews as they prepare to launch our new toter system in 2018. The tireless service of our police and fire department members who place their lives on the line with every shift, never knowing what may be coming at them next. The vigilant care taken of our children at Stockard Youth Center. And of course, the steadfast, excellent work of our City Hall staff. All of your work is universally recognized, valued, and appreciated. As we prepare to complete or commence amazing projects in the months ahead, things like Trader's Alley, the Colonial Theater project, improvements at our public safety complex and Stockard Youth Center, sidewalk, paving, and lighting projects galore, river trail improvements, additions to our new dog park, more sprucing ups of our Jawbone Park and Main Street, dedicating our new water storage tank atop Victoria Hill, completion of the North Buckhannon Park upgrade, the Gateway West project, and the list goes on and on. I pause and reflect in wonder and admiration for all that you all do as we continue our mission in being the very best community that we can be. You, ladies and gentlemen, make all things possible here, and I commend you for your excellent commitment to our city, your daily dedication, your vision, and your being superior ambassadors for our city. The several awards and recognitions received during 2017 alone, the DEP's Cabinet Secretary Award for being the greenest, most sustainable city in West Virginia, the designation by the Rural Water Association of having the best water system in the state of West Virginia, the DEP's REAP Program Award, citing Buckhannon as being the cleanest city in West Virginia. These are all the fruits of your labor. These are your awards. Please enjoy a blessed, loving, wonderful, amazing Thanksgiving, my dear friends and co-workers. I wish you and all of yours the very best during this holiday season. There is nothing that I am more thankful for this Thanksgiving than being able to work with all of you. We truly are all in this together. Most sincerely, me.
Thank you, David.
Thank you, David.
There you go. I would entertain a motion that we adjourn so that we can go watch the Steelers win.
Go Titans!
Mrs. Albaugh has made a motion. Mr. Cordes, you want to second the motion?
Yeah.
We would have to swear you in, Mr. Cordes. May I have a second to Mary's motion?
Second.
I have a second by Mr. Skinner. Is there discussion on the motion? No? I'll call for the question. All those in favor of adjournment at 8:12 signify by saying
Almost a record.
David, get your coat on, let's roll.
We are adjourned.
I hope the